Hello, you guys. I'm back here. I know you guys are just watching me tonight. I did a quick little live, tried to do one anyway about the elections going down south. But yeah, anyway, switching gears here. I know everyone's focused on what's going on right now. We're gonna kind of switch it up. I'm gonna be doing a show about, and I'm on my IOPPS goes live. This is my like podcast when I just kind of do whenever. It's like not part of my morning show. Anyway. I had this guy on my morning show. Him and his wife do a podcast about relationships. It was kind of a popular one. I had people keep inboxing me about it later on after the show was aired. And like a week later, they're still talking to me about it, asking about it. So I asked this guy if he wanted to come back on and do a special, I guess, with him and his wife. And he agreed. They picked tonight. We didn't know the election was going on. Totally forgot. Anyway, we want you guys to join us. It's a little late. We're kind of going to call it after dark. So we're going to get ready to it, you guys. I want to bring on Michael and his wife, Laura. Hello, guys.
Oh, hey, buddy.
There you go. There we go.
Hey, there we are. Good.
Yeah, so there, look at my background, man. Ooh, that looks nice. IOPPS goes live. Anyway, welcome back to the show, man. See, I like interviewing because you got the sound system, you got it all set up like me, and it's gonna be good.
No,
anyway, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks for bringing us back too. Like that's huge, and that's the whole reason, right? Like getting the feedback, getting people messaging you, and it just makes it all worthwhile because. Well, you know better than anybody, like the amount of work, this doesn't seem like much, but the amount of work that you put in and you're grinding and you're doing it. And it's to get any kind of feedback or get messages back. Oh, there's no better feeling.
Well, I seen another lady even said it on her Snapchat. Like she just went through, said a little spiel and then said like to thank Nathan and that guy from that morning show talking about relationships and stuff we were talking about, you know, it made a lot of sense to her. So that's why I was like, man, that's pretty badass. So
no, that's awesome, man. And it's only going to get better. I mean, upwards and onwards, but
what up, Raymond?
Oh yeah, there he is.
We all need to get on one show.
I know those guys are doing I've been watching a couple of them, man. Those guys are doing it. They're getting her. And my wife and I, when she comes back, so a little backstory behind that, Laura is coming. She's kind of the brains behind the outfit, but of course we picked the night, and Lennox, our little guy, he's going to sleep, and he's been doing great the last few nights. We've been training. We're like, Kate, you're getting ready for Nathan's show. We'll have it all set, and then of course tonight, anyone with toddlers know that your most unpredictable thing ever. So,
man, yeah.
But no, it's good. I mean, that's real, right? That's a real relationship, and this is the stuff that comes up. You have things that you planned, you want to do, and you got a toddler that, you know, might shit their pants, and then you got to change gears, and you got to get things moving, and that's part of the relationship. And it's tough on relationships, you know.
Even like now when you got something important like this, like, you know, we're gonna go live, you expect the unexpected, and I guess that'll dwell, and we'll get down to that later about relationship and how kids come into play and all that stuff,
100%. It's just one of those things you got to roll with the punches, and been taking that to heart lately the last few years of just rolling with the punches with anything. If you got to pivot with your job, if you got to pivot a little bit with which is mindset or your body or eating or whatever that looks like, and then obviously with relationships to take a really close look, and then and just see what's serving you and what's not serving you, to be honest. And I mean, it sounds a little selfish at times, but you just gotta really look in the mirror and think about how you feel. And if you're feeling like shit, I mean, life's hard enough. And I talk about it a lot, where we have so many outside forces coming at us that when you come home or you come back to that relationship, that has to be your safe space. That needs to be your reprieve, because you're getting so much outside garbage or outside noise, right? So
yeah,
it's a tough one. And here's the boss now, boy. Watch out. Now the magic's gonna happen on the show.
Can she hear me yet? Oh, I can she's putting there. What's her name? Laura?
Laura, yeah.
Okay. Get you on here.
There, I couldn't hear you. Now I can.
There you go.
Hi, Laura. Nice to meet you. The other half.
Hi, nice to meet you too. I heard lots about you, but now I can actually hear you,
get to see me and talk with me.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining IOPPS Goes Live. I have a bunch of shows. I'm just trying to get everyone to know which one is which. I have a morning show, which your husband was on. This is IOPPS Schools Live. This is my podcast where I interview like this, and then I have like a Indigipreneur show where Joe was every Wednesday night, and then we just interview people for businesses and stuff. But this show is about just shooting the shit and talking and different topics. So tonight's going to be about relationships. We're going to get into your guys' podcast. You guys are on season 2. We're going to get into your website. We're going to get into all that stuff. And it is late at night, you guys. I know people are turning probably back and forth from this and the elections right now.
Yeah.
Who's sleeping tonight anyways? So
yeah, exactly. That's
right?
what we talked about, because you even asked the question, right? And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe there's some people and you just need to shut that noise off too for a while and listen to some people talk about this.
So if you guys are joining right now, give us a couple shares, likes, get this going out. We are talking about relationships tonight. These two that's all they do is talk about it, and so we're gonna learn more about them.
Yeah,
not all they do for a living, but
all we do is talk about it. Yeah,
that's what their podcast is about, relationship. And Laura, well, let me get you guys introduce yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like, I mean, everyone's sick of me talking, but my name is Mike. I'm from Meadow Lake too, so we're not that far from each other either, right? So originally from Meadow Lake, but Laura and I kind of set up camp in Red Deer, is where we lived for a lot of years, and then what is it, the past 5-6 years we kind of turned into back to the native ways of nomads. We've just been moving all over the place. Right now we're in Kamloops out in BC, and then before the new year we'll be back in Red Deer, and then God, who knows what happens there. But what about you, Laura? Where are you from?
I'm actually from Edam. Well, that's where, I was born in Edam, raised most of my life there. That's where most of my family is from. So as Mike said, we've moved to Red Deer. We live now in Kamloops, just on a little adventure this COVID year. But we have an interesting story, and I don't know if you really want us to share that story. I mean, I can tell you.
We want to know everything, because we want to know who you guys are, all that stuff. Because I mean, if you guys are going to be talking about relationship, we want to know why you're talking about relationship. What's your backstory to tell us about your relationships? All that, right?
Okay,
oh, that's awesome.
So I'll just start off by saying that I am a relationship coach, but for women. I work specifically with women. And where that came from is my backstory of my own, basically going through rock bottom, feeling like I hit rock bottom, and then working my way up. All of the skills, tools, education, everything that I learned and grew through and transformed myself, and then my marriage with Mike through. I take all that and then I help women who are feeling just, it could be unfulfilled in their marriage, and just knowing that there is more and feeling kind of like that roommate status, and taking them into more passionate relationships. But I also work with women who are single, who are looking for that relationship, like they're going dating and not having good luck with men, right? So
now they're looking to snag, as we say.
Right. There you go.
Just looking for an uncle.
Yeah, looking for an uncle. So you help the aunties look for uncles.
There you go.
Well, she had a really good case study with me. I was exactly with relationships. Like, I mean, everything that you could do wrong, I was that guy. So she's seen that firsthand, went through that firsthand. A lot of nights while I was on a runaway, just getting drunk off my face. So there's lots of that, right? So she's seen it firsthand and went through it firsthand. So now when she does coach with women or with anybody, when we talk, she has a lot of experience with that. So I mean, it's not something that's really great. I'm not really proud of that, but I mean, it's got us where we're at now, and I've definitely straightened out a lot, and a little bit with age, a little bit with just obviously working with Laura and working on ourselves. And she taught me a lot of things, and now I'm just kind of taking that upwards and onwards with a lot of guys I know too, because hitting that age now where it's not fucking cool to be hanging out at the bar when you're 35, trying to throw your ass out there in a pair of Wranglers. Well, it's sometimes cool, but not all the time. But
Michelle wants to know what a relationship coach is.
Oh, okay. So I work with women specifically one-on-one, and I have a signature service called Reignited Relationship. So this is 12 modules that I have created. It's 12 different steps that basically is a self-study added on with my personal one-to-one coaching, which we do 1 hour calls, one-on-one. And what we do is just deep dive into limiting beliefs, boundaries, your fears, your mindset. I used to be a massage therapist, so I really go into body and energy and what we're holding in our body, stuck, stagnant energies, and how you want to show up in your relationship. So a big part of what I do is really just helping people, figure out the awareness of how they're showing up in their own life and then showing up in their relationship. And I just work hand in hand with them. You do the work. It's like a coach for sports or anything like that, right? I'm just there to guide you, mentor you, give you tools. And basically what I do is like call women out on their shit in a really loving way.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's same with everyone we talk to, right? It's so easy to get stuck in your own cycle of shit, and you can make it okay in your own head for some reason. I don't know how you can justify. Like I do it all the time. I can justify the most fucked up things in my head, but then sometimes you need someone to look at you and say, "Hey, we gotta straighten out. You're kind of falling off the rails," and kind of guide you in that direction. It's not exactly tell you how to live your life every point. It just guide you along the way and help you get back on that path.
So you guys started let's get into your podcast. You guys started a podcast. You're in year 2, right? Season 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Michelle, awesome. I need to be yelled at, she says.
with love.
Yeah.
Yeah, with love. She needs direction, guys. But so you guys started your podcast a year ago and you're on season 2. Can we see why can I ask why you guys started a podcast? How did that all come up? What was the reason? Say we want to talk about relationships.
I want to hear you go first.
Okay, so Mike and I's backstory is a little bit what he said, where he was drinking, he was partying. I was highly codependent, which means I had no sense of self. And I mean, that would be a whole other show to go deep into. That is a lot of childhood stuff, things that we learn. Lots of women and men can be codependent as well, but lots of women are codependent. And what we do is we go out and seek somebody that we need to fix, because then we can focus on them and not focus on ourselves. And so that was me.
That is so true. That is so true.
She found the perfect project.
I found the perfect candidate.
That is so true. Sorry.
And Mike and I met when I was 18 and he was 19. So this was coming up 17 years ago, which sounds crazy to say because I still feel like I'm like 16. But I was still in grade 12. I just like latched onto him and we had like we had a good relationship. We didn't realize how toxic it was. It was just these cycles where
there's some good times in there, but
triggers,
a lot of bad times. Yeah.
Empty promises.
Oh yeah,
just
you could.
Cycle,
I think I told you
right?
that. You could set your watch.
I'm
to
gonna
it,
change.
Oh, buddy. Me and Chester Knight could have went on for days about that. Yeah, because it was like all like Friday would roll around, then it was on a runway till Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, we'd be arguing, or I'd try to, I don't know how I would spin it so I'd somehow be mad at her for some reason, and then Wednesday we'd work through it. Thursday would be an awesome day. Friday rolls around, fucking right back at her, drinking again. Yeah. So it was just, and it was just terrible. It was a cycle. And baby, I'll change. Things will be different this time. And never change.
Yeah. And so essentially what happened is we had been together for 6 years. Mike proposed to me and I believed him. Like, oh, he'll change. As soon as we get married, he'll change. And then, so we did, we got married. We had like a big, beautiful, very romantic wedding. And I do not disregard that. Like people who came to our wedding were like, oh, that was one of the most romantic weddings we've been to. I mean, so we definitely were in love. We just had some pretty toxic love.
Yeah. I just had my own demons, right? But the love is always there. And it always,
And so
how old were you guys when you guys got married?
24 and 26, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'd been dating for 6 years. Then we got married.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you guys got like engaged when you're like 19, got married when you're 20.
Oh, no. Right. No. We played that out as long as I could. Then mom finally was like, well, you better piss or get off the pot. So I went out and got a ring and went over to go.
So then, that's where I thought, okay, well, we'll buy a house, we'll have babies. And things just really didn't start working out that way. And finally, I just realized one day, like nothing is going to change. And I thought it was all Mike's fault. I was like, he's never going to change. This is all him. Like I can't control him and I can't fix him. And so I myself started working with a coach. And my very first session with him, he was like, I just sat there and I cried and I complained about Mike and just everything was about Mike. And he was like, okay, Laura, you can cry about Mike today, but after this, we're going to focus on you. And he was my very first, this was in 2012, 13, introduction into like taking accountability for myself and knowing who I am and knowing what I want and what I stand for, and having boundaries in place, right? And really learning about codependence, which again, like I said, a lot of us women are. We're either empathic or codependent, a lot of us. So anyways, I started down that path of myself, and essentially Mike's ego said, well, fuck you. Oh, I hope we're allowed to swear on this.
You're only allowed to swear in Cree.
I don't know that.
Get it out.
Yeah, that guy was
So-
sitting. No, I was kidding.
So, gosh, what was I even saying? Oh yeah. So Mike's ego was like, nope, if this isn't working, if you think you need to work on yourself or whatever, like this isn't working, we're done. So, and I felt the same. I was like, you're not changing. So essentially what we did, we decided to take 3 months to both get our shit together. We obviously were married, we lived together, and I would work on myself so that in my coach's mind, or in his words, I wouldn't just move out and go stay in my brother's basement and cry every day, all night, and not like go out and live. So what we were going to do was build me up. But in the process of building me up, Mike started to make shifts because he was attracted to my changes, and we both started being built up. And this has happened in a very short time frame of 3 months. And we actually went to West Edmonton Mall for our 3-year anniversary. We went to the water park.
Mhm.
And this was the point where we should have been breaking up, but we went and we just had like the most fun, the most laughs, and totally, I know it sounds so cliche, but like totally fell back in love, I think, but like in a different way, and realized that we wanted something different. And so in that time frame, I was going to run away to India and find myself, as you do, right? I'm just like, I'm going to go be a yoga instructor, and I'm just going to run away from my problems, which didn't end up working out. My mom hated that idea, by the way. But when Mike and I decided to stay back together, I said, okay, you know what? But we're still doing something. Like I've realized that there's way more to life than just this like mundane day-to-day activities. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in that moment, I was like, I'm seeking something more. I need to learn more about myself. I need some adventure. I want to go somewhere. So we kind of just threw it out there, and I said, you can come with me now, now that we're kind of back together. You can
Oh
come
yeah,
with
we
me.
were full on. Like I say, we were setting up for that in that 3 months. It was setting up to like get Laura set up to be on her own. We didn't have kids, right? Or so we were just going to split up and do our thing. Kind of, I don't know what you call it, like nothing really disgruntled, just get her set up and everyone can go on their merry way. But obviously that changed in that time.
And then so we just started putting it out there. And what we basically ended up doing within that year is moving to London, to England for 2 years. And we basically just got rid of everything we owned, packed up 3 suitcases, 2 one-way tickets, and we had an accommodation for 1 week in London. And we were like, and 2-year visas. So we're like, well, we'll either see you in a few months when our money runs out, or we'll see you in 2 years when our visas run out.
Fuck. Yeah. Talk about money running out too. That happens quick there when you switch the Canadian to the pounds.
Yeah, it's like double.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool thing to do, because not only did we go there and only have each other, but then I only had myself as well. And we both grew immensely. We seen a different world from just like our small town Saskatchewan kind of ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And I always just thought like that sort of life was only in the movies, right? So there's a lot that opened us up there. And when we were there, we had this conversation that we should start sharing our story and opening up to people. And when we did that, that's where we created La Rock Life. And we were just kind of had the idea of, we'll share our story, we'll share our journey, because we know that there's other couples who struggle as well. And the amount of people who reached out and thanked us for sharing and said, like, one, we're completely shocked because you guys looked like you had the perfect relationship. Like, no one knew that we were going through all
you
these
guys were
problems.
Facebook and Instagram just awesome.
Yeah.
Like the perfect story
We
kind of
were.
thing.
Yeah. And then when I was blacked out, passed out on the table, she would just cover me up and then take me out the back.
No,
and
the
away
reason
we
I
go.
say that, like, I'm not making fun. It's like, it's true. There's so many people out there that have this perfect life, man, on Insta, Snap, Facebook, any social media, and it's just like nothing's wrong with them. You know, they might have the odd argument, but their life's just perfect, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to happen on social media. I mean, social media was still big, I guess, in 2013, 12, leading
Yeah, it
up
was
to that,
going
but
on,
it not as much as it is now, where all like the fakeness, but
Yeah.
you don't even have to see it on social media. Like you see it in your neighbors, or you know someone in your town where you're like, oh, she just has the perfect life and the perfect
Yeah, yeah.
relationship, and she shits rainbows and butterflies, right? But I'll tell you, that's probably the woman who's struggling the most. The ones, us women, and I can say that because I was that woman, and everyone around me seen my perfectionism. That's a complete trait of codependency, of just everything needing to be perfect and being in control and not having anyone think badly of you. You want everyone to like you. And so there's just this facade. And so when we started sharing that, the amount of women who like reached out and just said, oh, I would have guessed that you guys were struggling in your relationship. You always looked like you had it together and you were so happy and you were so in love, but you've inspired me because I do that and I'm not that happy in my relationship, or I know it could be better. And so that's the kind of stuff that started to really, I guess,
that got the wheels
inspire
moving,
us
eh?
and make us more. But then we were pregnant when we came back, and life, we kind of had like another little bit of a dark night of the soul journey on our way back to Canada. And in the next few years after that, when our Lennox was little.
Mhm.
But then Mike and I, so this is where the podcast evolved. Mike's been always trying to get us to get in front of a mic, and I was like, oh, I don't have time for that. And I didn't listen to him. But one night we're like, we have really good conversations, like really in-depth conversations. And I said, I don't really think like couples talk about this stuff necessarily. And he agreed. And so he just said, we just need to start having a podcast and just sharing stuff. And so that's kind of what season 1 is just us having a conversation like we would have sitting on the couch at home or driving in the
Give
car.
us a few examples of those conversations, because there's so many couples out there. Like when I used to be in relationships, I sucked at conversations. I talked about this, I think, on the morning show, but like, I'm not the guy to come for relationship advice of any kind. Like, I'm like, I don't know. A lot of stuff to work on in the last 2.5 years. I've been working on a lot of me. And it says the older as you get, you obviously know that, okay, there's a reason why you're only being in so many relationships, and just shit's always going south at a certain time in your life. But what kind of topics and stuff would you guys talk about? Like, to get you guys to, I guess, open up and start this podcast. Like, what really got you involved with each other in the conversation? What topic was the good one? Was it about sex? Was it about money? Was it about...
Yeah, that's the funny thing. We don't get into, well, we talk about sex a bit, but we don't get into it a whole lot. Hey, I think that's going to open up a little more moving forward once we get our own.
Well, I feel like you just asked us a super hard question because I don't
put you on
remember
the
what
spot.
happened yesterday,
good.
let
That's
alone
good.
like last year. So I'm trying to think of our topics from last year, or just even topics that we would have.
But there's good ones to mainly talk, like, especially for guys and guys like myself, right? Like that are, I'm your typical like carpenter by trade, drinking, like fighting, like all these things. And I just didn't think that a relationship was work. Like I thought, you come home, that should be your safe place, and you didn't have to work at it. And you just, this person should love me for who I am. And we just carry on our merry way. But, the topics were she was just starting to open me up, like crack me open, both of us. But we could talk about, talk a lot about gratitude. We talk about our dreams. We talk about
fears.
Oh, big time fears, right? And this is the person that you should have those conversations with. You should be able to, right? Yeah. Like that's your partner. That's who if you can't talk to them about something, then I mean, like who are you talking to, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I want to say there's a lady here she's got 2 questions, and I just want to know if you guys want to. I was gonna save them for later, but I think we can just keep diving in and out of the podcast.
Get into the questions. I might jar something loose too.
All right. One of the questions she says: so how would you deal with cheating men? Straight to the point.
Ooh, wow! Hit you right away.
Uncle and auntie are cheating on each other. How do you deal with it?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I think that it gets pretty complex, and I can't answer it specifically, here, but,
it is tough though, but you got to see it depends who does it too, right? Like if the man's cheating, like why, right? There's always something missing. Everyone's always searching for that thing. So whether most guys, it's usually physical, right? Oh, I'm not getting laid at home or whatever, so this can be my excuse to go get laid, and that would be it. Or like we talked about in that morning show, was it feeds your ego, like you're like you said, like a womanizer, but it's not even the sex. A lot of people, like, it's the act is whatever, right? It's the the hunt, the like, oh shit, I got control over, like, not control over you, but like we're connecting, we're vibing, you're digging what I'm doing, and you're just making me feel good. So yeah, let's do this and you're obviously not getting that at home for some reason, right?
Yeah. Well, and you think you're not, and then you're going around crying around after when you try to get back in and
exactly. Oh, but I love her though. Yeah, exactly. Right.
The reason that I hesitated is because it's like, okay, for me to answer that question, like, I just automatically want to go really deep and I want to get really personal and intimate, but I'm like, okay, well, I don't even know, is this for
why
her,
not
him,
let's give her, like,
whatever.
Why not?
But ultimately for me, if I was working with a woman who was being cheated on, and now that's an assumption, it could be that she's the cheater, but if she is being cheated on and continues to allow him to come back, I would say, how come you're not valuing yourself? How come you don't love yourself? How come you don't think that you deserve better than that, and that there is a way better man out there for you? And that can go for men as well, right?
I was just gonna say that's the same thing. There's women out there cheating on their man, and it's the same shit, man. Like, you know, a lot of people want to stay together for the kids. I mean, long term, you might be better off just parting ways and working on that co-parent relationship later. But yeah.
And I just have a tendency to say more women because I work specifically with women, so forgive me. Men, yes, for sure, but I just have a tendency to say more women. And I agree with you because my parents divorced when I was 3 years old, and so I would have much rather have what I had, which was 2 happy homes that I could relax in and settle in, versus one unhappy home that was always in unrest and fighting and that tension, because I also work a lot with energy, and everything is energy. And so you don't think kids pick up on that? They pick up on that.
Oh, huge. So, like when I was going through my little divorce there back in the day, and like I was a hurting unit, man. Like a lot of shit was my fault. But anyway, a lot of people told me that don't, watch what you're doing, because I was angry and sad and all that. But if they're right, they're saying watch what you do, because your kids pick up on that energy. Fast forward now, like me and my daughter's mom are, we get along, like, when we see each other, we're good now, and things are good. So it's like, you gotta really value your kids, your own sanity. Like, is it worth it getting your heart broken over and over and over and over? Like, whether it's the guy or the girl, like, it's like, that person who's cheating, man, there's a lot of shit going on in their head.
And I think a really big thing for people in relationships too is to realize that you have personal responsibility and you have choice. So you always have a choice to make change, whether that is to leave or to start setting stricter boundaries, or I don't know, just choosing more for yourself. Obviously, again, it's very specific, each individual circumstance, but we all have a choice, and we don't have to be a victim, right? So I think sometimes we just give away our power to our partner all too often, because it's probably what we've seen when we were growing up, or we see in society as well. So it's just a matter of understanding and really coming back to taking our power, and then having awareness in our everyday life as to where we can make new conscious choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, even with men too, right? Because it's that new shiny thing, finding and getting this trophy, like if you're cheating, right? You almost treat it like a trophy or whatever. And maybe they're thinking that maybe they can get a relationship with this girl that they're cheating with. But if they're the same guy and haven't changed at all or haven't done anything different, it's going to be the exact same thing in a couple months, right? And then they'll be chasing the next thing and the next thing. Yeah. And that's what we talk about a lot, is the secret to a good relationship really is, it's not one thing or a date night or different things. It's, you gotta fucking be okay with yourself. And as soon as you're good with yourself, you're just going to portray that out to your partner. And it's just upwards and onwards from there.
And I would say,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would just say if you're the partner who's cheating, then you're
I was just
running
gonna
from
br-
something. You're
Mhm.
hiding from something.
I was
You are
literally
seeking
just gonna.
something.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, if you're the one doing the cheating, man, like,
Yeah.
you know, you can
You're-
still change your life, there, but you got to figure out what the hell you're doing,
Yeah.
why you're
There's-
boning around, or getting boned, whatever, on your partner. So it's like, figure that
Yeah.
shit out. You can still save things.
Mhm.
There's a lot of inner work that needs to be done because it's
Big
no
time.
different than, your addiction to alcohol or drugs or sex or food
Mhm.
or numbing out to TV. It's all seeking something outside of yourself. And there's trauma. A lot of trauma is a lot of our problems are unresolved trauma,
Massive.
stuck energy. And so when you work on that, then you can make change in your life. But again, if you're the partner who's being cheated on, my question is why are you settling it for it? You clearly, and I say this from a complete place of love because I've been in those shoes, not with cheating, but in continually just being let down, but yet you keep coming back. You're a very loving, kind person, and you believe the person can change because you see good in the person, but the other person has to see good in themselves too.
Deep, real deep. That is good, man. No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Same girls, different question. How do you deal with one person of the couple who doesn't think they did anything wrong? So, say Michael is blaming Laura for something. How do you deal with that?
Well,
I guess it wouldn't be that question, yeah.
Well, I guess the something. I'm just trying to read that again. How do you deal with the one person in the couple who doesn't think they did anything wrong?
So it's like, Laura, you thinking you didn't do anything wrong. That's just an example like that.
Well, I don't.
No, yeah, exactly. You're perfect, right? Well, that's, to be honest, that's almost how I was though. Like, even until I realized what the fuck I was doing, I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, I remember saying that, like, well, I'm not hurting anybody. Like, I'm just like hurting myself, right? Or I think I'm hurting myself. That's what I learned that in some AA stuff, where it's just like, you think you're only hurting yourself, but fuck, there's such a support system behind you. You know, you're hurting your partner, you're hurting your kids, you're hurting your parents. Depending what you're doing, like, I was a fucking idiot. So like, you can even start hurting your community, you're hurting your friends, like all these things, right?
And I would say, so this advice, pretty much any advice that we say or anything we talk about is for people who are in relationships who are not in trouble, like not in narcissistic, abusive, like you need to get some serious help and get out kind of help. Like, this is, you're in a relationship where, things may be in the rock, like unrocky. No, what am I saying?
On the rocks. Yeah.
On the rocks. I was gonna say in the rocks. And you want to make change, but obviously if like there is some really deep things going on, like you need to get some support. But coming off of what Mike said, what I always work with my women, because they all come to me just as I did, to say he's doing something wrong. He's like, it's his problem, right? But this is so corny, but I always say when you're pointing at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. And so personal responsibility is the first step that I take any women through. And it's always like, what's my part in this? Because I can't change him. So if he's doing something wrong, who am I to say what his journey is, right? I'm not here to fuck with his journey. So I thought I was. my journey was to just take care of myself, and then he would flow. So that's
egos need to be checked in a relationship on both sides.
Massively.
Exactly.
I'm walking proof of that having a chip on your shoulder, having this ego, it's not going to help you at all in a relationship. It just hurts. That's all it does. You're just in for a world of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because there's always one stronger ego that comes into the relationship, whether it be the man or woman that, let's say it can attract more of that opposite sex than the other person. Like usually when I go into the relationship, I'm the underdog. Right, it's like
most men are.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's like but I mean, you still got to get your ego checked regardless. And if you want to, I guess, bring 110% into the team,
It's what it is. It really is. Like it's a team. It's a partnership. And once you got yourself settled into that, or like once you're striving for something better, man, your partner just accentuates that, and it's awesome. Like you have that support system, right? And you're able to do things, and you can take risks, and you can do different things, and know that person's going to be there for you. it's massive, and you're not stuck in all the little piddly shit. Because like I said before, you got so much stuff with life going on and so many outside forces that you need that person. You need a partner that will be there. Like, you can't rely on your parents for that. They've done their work. They got their own shit they're dealing with, right? You can't, and so you can't put that on your kids, because you're gonna fuck up your kids even further down the line. So you raise them, you be the example, you be their mentor, but you can't look for them for support. I mean, not all the time, right? Like, they're kids. They're your kid no matter how old they get. So they got to be there. They got to be your kids. So I kind of lost track. Caught your eyes there. Got lost in your eyes.
Yeah, she's like, "Stay focused, honey. Stay focused."
Yeah.
So your guys is you, like you're saying, you did season. How many episodes in your first podcast?
Back to the original question.
Back to that.
Season 1 has 25 episodes. And again, that one is just kind of like, let's sit down, let's just chit chat and really just let things come to us. And then season 2, we decided to get a little bit more structured, and we actually have made them shorter because we know people are limited on time, and a lot more value based. I mean, not to say that season 1 isn't value based. Season 1's a lot more like storytelling and
very
tools.
Very intimate too.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a couple on there. You definitely see me crying.
Yeah,
and
we're
like all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
We do share our story, I think, on season number 1.
Yeah.
Like in detail. And then we go into one specifically, really, because when we started our podcast is when COVID hit. And so everything was shutting down. Everyone was scared. And that's a huge relationship factor when you're going to lose your job and you don't know where the money's coming for the bills. And that's a lot of stress. So we gave them. Exactly.
Going on my surf trip to Banff.
Stirb.
So far.
Honey, we're going to the mountains.
So we went into like deep on that, like fears and how to communicate that so that you can actually like come together and not, grow apart in all of that or fight and be frustrated. But we got a lot of feedback that people did really enjoy the storytelling and could relate to the storytelling and see themselves in us. But now this season, we're actually just launched today. So the first one launched today. And we're just a lot more focused on some education and some tools, some strategies. And then of course we like to talk. So there's always a story a little bit, but they're definitely shorter, and it's only launched today. So we'll see what the feedback is on that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then it's pretty cool for myself anyway, because I'm a bit of a nerd that way too. You can see the progression, I guess yourself too, Nate. Like, you can see the progression of like the sound, the audio, the video. It just keeps getting kind of better and better as well. So it's pretty fun. And now these things fucking light you up. I think we talked about it, where it doesn't even matter who's watching or what, but obviously feedback's great because it lights you up. But after our podcast episodes, or even after a morning show there, like that pumped me up for the day and got me through. Right. And just talking to other people, and even like talking to Laura, talking to your partner, talking about positive things, not always just stuck down in the dumps or worrying about bills or whatever. It's empowering for yourself, and it just gets you through the day that much better.
No, they are podcasts like mine, like yours, like Raymond's, like whoever else is going to make one in the future here are very empowering, regardless of what they are. Only if they're shooting out the good stuff, right? But I mean, back to your guys' we don't want to get off topic here. We can go talk about podcasts and everything, but I want to focus on your guys' relationship podcast, because right now, because of COVID, mental health, all this stuff is just, jarring at everyone. There's breakups. I guess they're saying a lot of divorces because of COVID, right? And, everyone was locked down and like stuck together, and you're trying to, if you had kids, you're like going nuts and you can't go. Like on the res, we got a lot of space. We can get outside and, go. There's a lot of space out in the res, but, in the city, like you guys, I don't know what the rules were back when we did go on first lockdown, but I heard it was like you ain't going anywhere except Walmart and back kind of thing, right?
Pretty much, eh?
Yeah, I would say things didn't really shift too much for us then, but that's when we started our podcast. So we really dived into this, which that was kind of our way of, serving people, and like you were saying, making us feel better.
Well,
and
serve people, but selfishly,
together.
I take a lot from it, even just those, again, back to those conversations, right? And just having those deep conversations. And I take a lot away from those in a very selfish way.
Yeah. And communication is just the biggest thing. Personal responsibility and communication are the biggest things for relationships. So that's what we dove into a lot in episode 1.
Yeah.
And I think that did help a lot of couples through COVID, because if you're scared or you're anxious or you're, worrying about something all of the time, if you don't have a partner that you can open up to and talk to, then yeah, of course, you're going to look outside for someone else to talk to and kind of.
Well, I always
emotionally.
was that guy, right? Because I'm
gonna go back to that comment that Laura just said, that you're gonna, if there's no one to talk to, that you're gonna look after somebody else to talk to. I want to bring that to social media. I want to bring that to social media. Let's dive into social media and relationships.
You're gonna slide right in my DMs or what?
Sliding right into your DMs, because
there you go.
That's exactly what happens. And I don't want to bring her up, but I got a coworker, and it's not sliding. She's a relative of mine, but she's got a relationship thing going on, and I try to give her a little bit of advice, but I don't really know the whole situation. I just know that there's this guy and her, and things ain't working out. But back to social media. What's your advice on today's, when you're in a relationship, man? Because social media, like you said, it portrays one thing, but the truth is the other. But at the same time, there's a lot of people sliding into DMs like Snapchat. They got TikTok now, so people are doing that, and Facebook and all this. Like, is that the best thing to do? You think, like, you got those people that have the joint Facebooks, which I think is, I'm sorry, whoever's got them, I think they're just funny. I don't think, unless you've been in a relationship for 500 years, sure, have them and all that. But I mean, like, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I just think, man, that there's so much trust issues there when you have that shared joint account. It's like, oh my God, somebody got caught, or something happened, or somebody's really insecure, and then that's what it is. It's total insecurity from somebody or both. And anyway, I can go on and on about
massively, right? And like you said, with everyone having their fake lives out there too, that you look like, so say you're a woman or a guy, like you see this person in all their fucking highlight reels. So you see this girl, she's always dressed up. Most of the time they're putting a fucking filter on. So like, what color are you even, right? So you got this filter and like all these different things. So you're putting them up on this pedestal because you're seeing them on your TV screen, sitting in your fucking boxers, eating cheesies on the couch. So you're like, hey babe, what's up? And you're just thinking there's something special. But I mean, in reality, they're just another normal person trying to get their shit together too. Right. And so then you, I don't know. In my world, if they DM, you send a message to them, like, or if they even sent one back to you, you would feel like $1 million, right? Like, oh, someone's talking to me. So then, of course, you're gonna carry that on. You're gonna. So you were talking about emotional relationships, right?
Yeah, I would say that what I have learned working with women is that it comes back to the communication thing. Most women either do not know what they're feeling or how to express what they're feeling. On the other hand, maybe don't have a partner who can receive what they're feeling, or they just don't have that level of respect and trust in their relationship where they can start opening up for their deeper feelings because they just never have. And so most women who are unhappy in their relationships, again, I'm speaking of women because I work with women, it goes both ways, but their partner doesn't even know that they're unhappy. And so that's how it happens, right? They, as Mike's saying, the grass is greener on the other side. She's got a happier life. He's got a happier life. Ooh, he's sexy. I'm going to DM him, or he's going to DM me. And then I feel worthy and I feel great because someone paid attention to me. And then and likely he knows what he's doing, or she knows what they're doing, and beginning that conversation. And now you have that lust and that desire that you had in the beginning of the relationship with your partner. And that attracts you, right? But at the same time, you can build that with your own partner. It's just that I think we just become so ingrained. I don't know if it's society, if it is that grass is greener and the comparison of everyone. I
know for myself, when you say all that, like, I don't know how most guys are, but I know myself, I was scared to open up to Laura, like my fucking wife, my partner. I was scared to open up to her because I was always worried that she would use that against me or think less of me. So like, I'm scared of X. I don't even know what, but like, I'm scared of, I don't know what could you even say, like what kind of situation, just in life, like, oh, I'm scared about money, or I'm worried about something, right? And I wouldn't even want to talk to her about that, or even I'm in, like, I feel fat, babe, or like just all these things. And I was always worried that she would just use that as ammunition against me if we're having an argument, or, say we split up and then she's out telling everybody all your business, all your secrets, or
oh shit, man. There's so many that do that on Facebook, and anyone that does that on Facebook, please don't, man. The other people are like, oh, they're sitting there with the popcorn and they're like, come on, man, give us more. Like, right.
Yeah.
And you see those memes that they're like, hey, come on, what's happening next? Because we've been in this relationship since the first update. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, get the Michael Jackson eating popcorn watching.
Right, man.
It's here like, for the comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I people don't personally, please don't, like, those relationship statuses and everything when you're telling your whole life on Facebook are not the way to go, because I'll tell you what, and that's one of the things I look for if I'm talking to a woman and I want to get to know her or anything, I kind of go through her Facebook, and then I see her updates and I see what kind of updates she's putting out, right? If it's like in detail shit, I'm just like, okay, no. It'd be the first thing, man, if we ever go into a fight or something, right? My shit's gonna be up there and be like, okay, I don't want any part of that, right? And that's from a guy like me, and that's shit I stay away from. And I guess I'm way off topic, or no, I'm just kind of going to another thing. No. But it's like,
you're there, buddy. Stay there.
But it's like, that's how relationships I see right now within social media, to like, especially an older gentleman like myself, I don't want to have my business out there. I put my own funny stuff on Facebook, and like I do this stuff and stuff, but I do not want my personal life out there. I mean, like, what's going on with my other half. For sure, we do the fake stuff when I was in a relationship. Not the fake stuff. Sorry, I'm gonna, when I'm putting pictures of us traveling and stuff. The nice pictures, but
the highlight reel stuff.
The highlight reels. That's the word I'm looking for. Not fake. You know what I mean? I don't want my stuff.
They're
so
good
I guess
moments. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's part of the relationship, ladies and guys. Like, there's on both sides that put their shit up on there, man. Don't, like, it's just.
Yeah.
What's your answer to that? People that do that. What do you want to say to people that do that? I guess
that put their air all their laundry on their Facebook?
Air all their laundry, and we're all just sitting here, just like, okay, what's next? And
it's a fine line, eh? Well, between you got to be vulnerable too, but
but there's a difference in vulnerability. Like, so for myself, I'm a wide open book. I'll tell you anything you want to know about my personal life once I've moved through it. Once I've done the work, felt the pain, found my lesson in it, like now I'm on the other side and I'm like, okay, I can help someone with this. I'm more than welcome. Like our story. I used to lay in bed and cry at night. Like, I will share this all with you. But there's a difference in that and that vulnerability, because you're here to serve someone and help someone move through something, versus like, oh my God, I'm so far removed from this right now. But I'm trying to think of a status I could say of like, you guys give me an example.
Well, I don't know. Just again, we could fucking be like that. Oh, laying in bed crying because Mike's gone now, and then all your girlfriends would come in like, "Oh, what a jerk!" And then
I see the status like that today, man. There was one
there you go. Yeah.
Like all the ladies, man, they're like, "What an ass!" What an just hammering on him and like giving all the support, because that's what that's the attention.
She's looking for attention, but she's also looking to be validated in her feelings, because she doesn't feel that it's okay for herself. She's not enough to validate how she feels. She doesn't trust how she feels. So she needs someone else to validate and get that attention. Right. And if kind of build her up. Right. Which, again, nothing wrong with it if you're in that. But my advice would be, if you're a person listening to this who does that, just start being a little more conscious and aware of those moments when you're like, I'm about to air all my dirty laundry because I'm triggered in this moment and I'm mad. maybe like set a timer for 45 minutes and just feel it out. And then in 45 minutes, if you're still feeling the same way, then if you got to post it, you got to post it. But otherwise, that's like for any trigger, but just give yourself some time to just kind of like move through it and then realize, because you often see too that those posts have been deleted after an hour or two, right?
But
because that person
screenshots
realizes
are forever.
Yeah, it's too late. But that person realizes once they come down from their like huge trigger in their fight or flight moment, they're like, oh, that was a lot. I probably shouldn't have shared that. Right. But yeah, it's too late once it's on social media.
And I mean, you got to respect that person, right? If it's your wife or your partner, like you just got to respect that partner and have enough respect not to throw that all out there. And that shit triggers us, man. It triggers us because we're sitting there like 100%.
And
if I seen that, I would just sit at the bar laughing. Yeah. Like if you're sitting there and you see that status, and you would almost just say, fuck that, then I'll just stay here. And if you're going to do that, I'll just stay here and do my thing. Right. But again, there's all your ego, and that's where I'd come at it from.
I would say if there's something in your relationship that's not working, try doing the opposite, and that'll probably work. Because it's something completely different than what you normally do and what your partner is expecting, and just knows that pattern and that cycle, then you're going to like really just shock them.
To be fair, that's almost a perfect analogy. That's like unplugging the router when your internet ain't working. Like it's seriously, you just got to fucking interrupt it a bit and just something will kick. Because you get stuck in those cycles and it's comfortable. So you stay in that comfortable cycle.
Cycles is the big word, you guys. Cycle is the big word. If you were exactly in a cycle, man, check something out, man. Something's right. And you got to check your ego. If it's you got to say, okay, shit, it's me doing this. I got to check myself. Yep. Right.
And you just have to make a simple change, like a simple shift. Instead of going to your keyboard, make yourself go for a walk. Like it's something so simple, but it's not necessarily easy, because you literally have pathways hardwired in your brain that make you go out and react this way. So it does take conscious effort for sure.
Oh, it's a long road, man. It's a long road to change, but it's easy, but it's super fucking hard, because you're like, I gotta fucking do this. And like I said, it goes back to the ego. You got to check your ego. I had to check my ego so many times, and like I said, I'm on this little journey, like 2.5 years so far. Yeah, learned a lot of shit, but I still go back to some dumb shit. But I'm still learning. Okay, man, Nathan, quit fucking doing that, man. There's a reason, right? You got to check your stuff. So
and for lots of people, it takes hitting your rock bottom and everything crumbling in order for you to finally realize that, right? So a lot of people think like, oh, I've hit my rock bottom and this is the end of my life. I'm like, no, your life is just beginning, and this is going to be like really,
hit my rock really bottom. Great. Jump in the truck. I'll go. We'll go find it.
My clients like hop on the phone with me, and something terrible, not terrible, but they tell me this story, and I'm like, I know you're going to hate me, but I'm like, this is so good, and they're like, God, I do hate you, but I can see the other side of it, right? And I see what they're about to move through. But can I just share one thing quickly on the whole?
Sure. Go hard.
If you are in relationship, trust and respect and communication is the biggest thing. So if you already have a fair level of trust and you trust your partner, then you probably do have different Facebook accounts, and you're not concerned about who they're talking to or what's going on. Some people are coming out of cheating or whether that is a physical affair, an emotional affair, certain things, or just something that made you mistrust your partner. Well, it does take some time to rebuild it. And in today's age with social media, that's like a really big trigger, especially if the incident happened on social media. Yeah. So both of you have to be very willing and open. So like I had one client who said every time her husband would come in the room, if she put down her phone right away, because she simply was just like, oh, he's in the room, I'm going to be present with him. He looked at it as, oh, what was she doing on there? Right. So
with you? Why are you
what are you trying to hide? And so once they communicated, communication is key, what they were both feeling out of that, then that allowed them to create kind of a new normal for themselves and make a deal of like, okay, I'm not going to throw my phone down every time you walk in the room, or like, here, look at my phone. But I think too, like for Mike and I, for instance, our Facebooks are on our laptops.
Our joint?
No, we have our own joint. We have our own. Easy. Okay.
We do have the Laurent podcast page. Go subscribe to that while you're out there.
I'm just kidding. Oh yeah,
They're not password protected, and our computers. I could go and open Mike's computer and look through all of his messages and all of his notifications if I wanted to. And I'm not going to lie, there are times in my life when I have, because I've been so insecure, or, I'm thinking, I make up this crazy story in my mind that he's talking to someone. And so I will be the first to admit that I have done it. And mine's wide open as well, too. You can come look at mine because I also have nothing to hide. So I think there's just like this level, wherever you're at in your relationship, you have to figure that out. And then, communicate it. Like, what would make you feel more comfortable? Well, I would appreciate it if you left your Facebook open so I could see it if I wanted to. Doesn't mean I'm going to, but if I wanted to.
The big step, leave your Facebook open. That's like, that's a big step.
Right. And also, I think one more thing that I have to say before you can talk is,
carry on.
No, if you're on a roll, Laura, go.
Also being very open. So let's say you did get a message from your ex, or you got a really weird message from some creepy dude. You show your partner, right? Of course, in some relationships, this is where it gets tricky. Like some women or men would trigger their partner by that, and then they might go crazy and start wrecking things. But I'm talking again about these relationships that you're feeling more like roommates, where you want to come closer together and you want to start letting him in, or you want to start letting her in. Show them. Like, hey, I just got this message from my ex, so that if it ever does come up, it's not like what were you trying to hide? Right. And then you build that level of trust right there, even deeper.
Yeah.
So this is if you've been in a relationship. This is if you've been in a relationship for a while, or is this kind of like anytime?
Yeah, I would say let's say for Mike and I, if one of my exes, which is kind of funny because that wouldn't happen because we've been together for 17 years.
Yeah.
But let's just say we've been together for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and my ex-serious boyfriend or ex-husband even sent me messages randomly through Facebook. I would show him right away. I would just say, oh, hey, read this. Like, how do you think I should respond to it? What makes you feel comfortable? Because this guy's dead in the water to me, right? But do we just not reply? So I think involving your partner is just, again, depending on where you're at in your relationship, but it can help you grow closer together too.
What about at the beginning? What did it say they're in the romantic stage, and that's like the first, what is that, 3 months, 3 to 6 months romantic stage? You know what I'm talking about? It's at the beginning, it's all deadly.
You hang out with me, it's still 17 years strong. I don't even know what days you're talking about. That is tricky, eh? Because there's everybody's obviously, you gotta, I don't know.
Because at the beginning, then you're like, okay, let's just say you're sharing it, right? And at the beginning, you're like, hey, look at this girl's messaging. Look at this other girl's messaging me. Does it like you're trying to shove it in her face, or it's like, does a guy just message the girl back and say, quit messaging me and not show the girl? Or
that's what I was gonna say that too. With if people are messaging you, don't use that as ammo or to throw that in your partner's face. Be like, look at all these messages I'm getting from all these people. I'm
well,
a real
then there
cat.
goes that trust that you're want to be trustful, right? So
yeah, you're trying to use that as a strong arm, right?
Yeah, and
what if you're trying to actually do it to show trust? I guess.
Well, I think at 3 months, you're still learning a lot about each other. That you're building trust in a lot of different ways, just in your
hey man, we shack up and we shack up in 2 weeks, and we got kids knocked up by 3 months. So
yeah, we're sharing that serve check, right? Oh yeah.
Fair.
What if they went to serve mounds on the first week? No.
Well, I do not know how to answer this question. Too many what ifs.
Yeah, but sorry. Go ahead.
I just think that in the beginning of a relationship, you got to be aware of red flags. And so if a man was in 3 months was to me wanting to see my Facebook, I would be like, you're crazy and you're creepy and I don't like you anymore.
Because they probably had trauma from their past girlfriend that was cheating on them through Facebook or something, right? So then they got
you're
this
already
weird
way
thing.
too controlling for me. But at the same time, if I had someone messaging me and I was dating Mike for 3 months, what would I do right now? I wouldn't tell him. I mean, obviously it would depend where we were at in our relationship, but I would just, I feel big enough. I feel like I'm a big enough girl to handle it at that point, to just be like, hey, I'm dating someone, or I'm not interested, or not even answer, or block and delete. Or I think just in the beginning phases of a relationship, you don't have to open yourself wide open. Like, you're allowed to learn to trust and get to know somebody. And that might be one of the biggest problems we have in society today, is where we just like fall real head first, real deep, real quick, and forget who we
Shack
are.
up, like you said. Yeah.
Shack up. Yeah. And just
No,
like,
and that's the honest truth. Like, that's how, like, all of my relationships, and I'll tell you right now, happen like that. Get to know a man, and like, one relationship, man, I was shacked up in a month. Like, you know, when we dated for like 2.5 years, but that was just a shit show, right?
yeah.
But it, like, that's just how it is in the Indian
No,
world
that's fair
sometimes.
though.
Like,
You're
it's
both
like,
looking
like,
for something, right? And you just want
Right.
that. You need that person with.
I mean, you
Yeah.
hear those wonderful stories, those love stories where people have been together for 50 some years and they got married the third day they knew each other. Like, yeah, those things
Yeah.
exist. I think they're rare.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us are trying, we talk a lot about instant gratification, and a lot of us are just trying to run away from our own shit and think, you'll fix it. Either I can fix you or you will fix me. So let's shack up, let's get married, let's have kids. And I feel like there's no issue with taking things a little bit slower.
And just
Mhm.
again, just goes back to work on yourself, because generally you're going to come in with trauma,
Mhm.
right? You're bringing trauma into this, and it's all how you've taken care of that. And if you haven't, like I say, I used to just try to hide mine and just drowned it, right? So I just didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah. And I would say,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Nathan.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, I was just going to say, like, if I were to be in a new relationship starting now, or if I was dating and I'm 34, I would know myself first. I would do what you're doing, Nathan. Like, I would know who I am. Of course, being in a relationship, you always will grow more, because that person comes in and highlights all sorts of things for you.
Yeah.
And I do believe relationships are meant to do that. Like, look at your partner as a person to grow with and evolve with, not just like shack up and expect things to be perfect. But at the same time, I would resolve any trauma I was aware of, or any qualities in myself that I knew needed some work, and just really truly love myself and be comfortable in my own skin and be comfortable on my own before I connected with another partner. And because I would feel that way, I would attract a partner who's done a lot of the same work on themselves, or I would be very aware of the red flags of that person that I wouldn't have been aware of had I not done that work on myself already. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Then you would see those red flags, and you'd be like, oh yeah, like I can fix you.
Yeah. And I mean, it's easy to say this. Of course, I'm 17 years older and that happens in life. But I mean, if the Laura of today looked at Mike when we were 18, there's no way I would choose you for a partner, and vice versa, right? Like,
I'm average height. I'm trying to get taller.
you just wouldn't. But I mean, that's not even a fair statement to say, because obviously 17 years of life, you grow a lot. But basically what I'm just saying is you know what you want in a partner, because you know who you are.
That's the biggest thing. And I know myself, and a lot of people that I know, is just, you go into these relationships trying to hope that they fix you, or that you can be comfortable in your own skin, or you can be, I don't know, you're trying to search for the answers, like Laura just said, that if you don't know those, you got to know those answers going into that relationship, or else you're just going to be lost in it, and that person can manipulate you or do whatever, or you do the same to them without even knowing, right? You're manipulating them, and it's somehow serving you in some weird way. Because I generally try to say that most people are good people. Like, you want to be the best person you can. Most people think they are. So you don't most people don't maliciously do that to people. It's just the way they deal with things, right? So I mean, in that relationship, if you I say it all the time, just, you got to take care of yourself. That's what happened with Laura. Like, she was my biggest mirror. When she started doing all that work, it's like, holy fuck, man, I gotta either straighten out or get out of the way and let her live her life, because she was on a upwards trajectory and I was just going nowhere, and I was just holding her back. So it takes a lot in the partner to recognize that in a person and want to change themselves, because it would have been so easy for me. Like, I was, just boozing all weekend. So I was, in my head, it was like it was a great life, work all week, party all weekend, and just carry on. Right. And we were comfortable. Like, money wise wasn't a huge, like, we weren't rich, we weren't poor though. Like, we're just there. If I didn't want to change, there was just middle class, everything was just rolling. So I could see how so many people get stuck in the cycle of not wanting, like, wake up and you're 55 and you're still doing the same thing. Right. I could see that easily. But again, like we talked about, it's that cycle of just being in that comfort zone. For some reason, just it was comfortable for me to do that. But again, then you wake up in the morning with that pit in your stomach and the anxiety and all the other fun stuff that come with that. Plus, try to rebuild a relationship for the week and then do it all over again.
Yeah, the key words I'm getting here is a lot of like trauma and like looking after yourself. Like, obviously you want to, Laura, I'm guessing that's what you do. Obviously, is you try and make the lady, find out who they are. I guess to try and make themselves happy is kind of, is that what you do? In an aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of women come to me, like I said, thinking that it's their husband's problem or their partner's problem. So yeah, we just start taking personal responsibility, and I highlight those areas for them, and then I show them that they're actually very powerful and very lovable and all of these things, right? So I do work with women who are single, who are, have been, like you've said, like in relationship after relationship, and they're just not working out. But as you said at the beginning of this, like once you've been through so many failed relationships, you realize that there's one common denominator in that, right? Mm-hmm. And so you start looking at yourself. And then I work with women, and this was one of the things I really wanted to point out, because I just had talked about if I was single, this is how I'd redo it again. But I don't want any woman who's in a relationship to think that you need to be single to begin doing it, because that's the majority of who I work with is women who are in relationships, but they're just feeling kind of lost. They're feeling disconnected. They're wanting more. They're kind of looking at the grass on the other side, but they're not really sure. And so I always just say, you know what, let's work on you. And if your relationship transforms, awesome. If it doesn't, then at least you knew you did everything that you could, and you leave a happier person, right? And you're not in your brother's basement crying all the time. And then I also work with like women who are already in separation, and so far the ones I've worked with their relationships have worked out, because when she thought it was all him and tried to control him and fix him and do all the things, and it was driving them apart, when she started focusing just on her, it actually did bring them back together. And then I've also worked with women who are divorced, who just have a lot of hurt and pain and trauma and moving forward into a new relationship. So it kind of brings you back full circle to being single again, but now with like that baggage of, the resentment and stuff towards your partner, and not wanting to attract the same partner again. But what was your original question to me?
I think that was it. Just with the name, the trauma and stuff, and then even
we work a lot with that.
Yeah, and just with our. So would you give? What was that one? So would you?
It looks like Michelle's going through something. Here's her third question. So she go. Yeah. So would you forgive after all? Would you forgive after all the drinking and whatnot?
Well, my response to Michelle would be, would Michelle, would you forgive after all the drinking and whatnot? Because it doesn't matter what I would do, right? I would go inwards, and I would start doing this work on myself to see what my part was in it, and work on my own happiness and my own joy. And forgiveness is a huge part of what I work with my clients as well, because you got to forgive yourself and forgive someone. So in forgiveness, you may decide in that forgiveness work and just learning to love yourself, you may decide that the relationship is worth it and you want to stay. And you may decide that, no, I am worth way more than this, right? Or I can't forgive it. That was too hurtful or too painful, or I'm not willing to put myself through that again. And because he's not taking accountability, right? So no one can answer that question except for you. And that's exactly what coaching is, kind of coming back full circle to when she asked that question originally. Coaching is really just putting the mirror up against you. I'm your mirror, and I'll just ask you questions and guide you to go inwards. Mm-hmm. And so you answer all your own questions. I don't tell you what to do.
Yeah, you got to look at yourself. In the end, you got to look at yourself and see what the fuck is going on. Like, a lot of times it is us. It's your own person that, that's, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I kind of lost my train of thought. But I guess in the end, Michelle, I don't know if you're going through anything, but I'm just going to say in the end, if you were really, 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 really happy with yourself, you wouldn't even ask that question. You'd already know the answer.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
100%. And I mean, even just sticking with obviously the theme too, in your show, like with Indigenous people like ourselves, there is a lot of trauma there, right? And there's so much
trauma, man.
The stuff things you've seen, the things you lived through, the things that your grandparents have lived through, the things your parents have lived through, and we do, like Laura and I, we did she does a lot with even just generational, like it's in our DNA, even that trauma, right? Like your grandparents went to residential schools, you're going to feel some of that. Your parents had to take the brunt of that. And I mean, it just works its way down. And then you seen your parents, the way they were acting, and you're a sponge, right? When you're a kid, and you just take that all in, and then you carry those through. So, I mean, it's no excuse by any means, and everyone has their own stuff. But I know as Indigenous people, there's just so much that you're definitely against it. You really are, right? There's a lot going against you just off the bat. And you see a lot of people, yourself included, just rise up above that and makes you even stronger. But it's not easy. There's a lot of work in there, and there's a lot of work to deal with. And you have every excuse in the book, and it's easy just to say, you know, hey, this is our situation, this is me, and that's it. But it takes a strong person to work through that and get through it, and then make it better for your kids. And that's what I'm really big on. That is, I want to make sure my son never sees that. He doesn't have to deal with that shit. Not for me anyway, right? I'm going to be his hero in his eyes, be that mentor. That was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Is a couple of years ago at a golf tournament, I just got out of hand, and my buddy had to drag me in the house at, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't even fucking 10 yet, probably. And but luckily enough, my son was in bed, and Laura explained that all to me. And from there on, I was like, well, he's not seeing that, because I've seen that way too often, right? And he definitely doesn't need to see that. So we got to be that change. And once we're that change, like, you can't blame your grandparents, can't blame your parents. That's life, and that's what happened. They did the best they could with what they had. And then us moving forward, we can be the change. We can help our kids. We can help our nephews, nieces, everybody, and be that light for people to see. And like I say, I see that in yourself. Like, you're something that people in Red Pheasant can strive for. Like, I mean, yeah, you got your own shit. You're not perfect. No one is perfect, but at least you're working to move up, right? You're not just stuck in it all the time. And people see that, man. They really do. And it goes a long ways. It's, you know, watching you on a screen with microphone, like, fuck, I could never do that. But slowly chip away. You'll reach out, and how to get microphones, how to get online, how to do different things, right? And just start telling your story. And it's very moving, especially for, like I say, for our people. It's just, you don't get a lot of that. You really don't. And then even like back to Raymond there, even with old Fox, like watching a guy, and he's in college. I don't know if he's on a scholarship or not, but like, just, you can go, like, there's nothing holding you back. He's a shining example of that. Yeah. You can do so many things.
Damn. That was good, man. That was good.
I'm running for council next week.
You were in the zone there, man. Hey, shit, that was good, man.
Extremely passionate about it, because it is. There's so many kids out there, and so many people with so much potential, and we just squandered all away. Especially, and there's so many Native men. Like, I mean, I say that just because of the show, but you come from a line of fucking warriors. You're a warrior, and this was only 150 years ago. You were a fucking warrior. And you were providing for your family, you're protecting your family, you're feeding the community. And what we become in the, like, 150 years, now we're sitting on the couch playing video games. Like, what happened? And that's why I feel that we're depressed. Like, that's why you turn to alcohol, you turn to different things, because you don't even know what your own purpose is. You don't know what you want to do. You have this energy and you want to do something, but there's just, you feel like there's no outlet for it. So you just got to find your passion. And that's what I see in yourself. Like, you found a passion to help people, and that can keep you moving, right? Or keep things moving forward. And that's what's keeping me on the straight and narrow too. Like, I love drinking. Like, I love it, but I'm terrible at it. That's what keeps me moving now, is I don't want to go back to those old ways, right? And got to keep striving forward and have that purpose. And then obviously in a relationship, that's where, if your man or your woman is purpose driven, fuck, man, like, there's nothing better to see than your partner striving, right? Like, I love when Laura's working with people or hearing feedback from people about Laura. Like, that lights me up. Like, yeah, that's my partner, and we're only going to build bigger and better after that, right?
I want to stop you right there. What you were saying there, like, you keep going with Laura, but it's like, you want to surround yourself with people who are successful in anything. And obviously Laura's successful in relationship building. And Mike, can I say Mike, or do I say Michael?
Well, Michael makes me sound smart, but no, 100% Mike.
All right, Mike, you're surrounding yourself with Laura, your wife, and she's bringing you up. You guys are bringing each other up. So I guess that would go into anyone. And they say that in all these motivational videos I watch, is like, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with the people you want to be mirrored of. Like if you want to make money and all that stuff, go around people that make money, but the good way. There's obviously the other way, but but surround yourself with people, and I guess that even goes with relationships. If you want to be in a successful relationship, go hang around people that are in successful relationship.
Absolutely.
And
Mentorship, buddy.
Yeah. And talk to them and say, what the hell do you guys do that while you're still together? Like, whoa, what's going on? Talk to the young couple that's been together for 5 years and been through up and down, but they don't throw their shit on Facebook. Talk to an older couple, an old mushroom and cookum who've been together forever, been through it all. Talk to, the auntie and uncle that are actually together and been through it all, right? But I mean, talk to someone that's been together and have done it and are doing it. Ask them why, how, hang around with them. You will start feeding off that energy, and you will start seeing more and more of what's going on with you, right? And that goes back it goes back to the building yourself up. And if something's going, look out, if this is like a one relationship and you've been in a bunch of others, look what's going on, see what's happening. Like, why the fuck are you going through all this shit? And it's just like, back to what Michael was saying, the cycle, right? Just because you're single, there's always that cycle. And like, that's a cycle I was always in. Like, why am I just all these short relationships? But it's all, you got to find out who you are and, make yourself happy. And you don't know how long it's going to take. That shit could take a year. It could take longer. I don't know. It just depends, how hard you work on yourself.
Oh, absolutely, man. You nailed it. And when you go back to mentors, it's most people, they want to help you too. Like most, if you go to most mentors about making money or, opportunities or want to be an entrepreneur or anything like that, most people that you reach out to will want to help you. You just gotta, you gotta go at it, and you gotta have some skin in the game, and you gotta show them that you're going to work. You can't just send a message, say, hey, we should go for coffee. Like, you're not going to get a response. Trust me. We tried that, or I tried that far too many times. But if you show some effort, there's more than enough people willing to mentor you. Absolutely.
In anything, that's relationships, that's making money, that's bettering yourself, so I'm not saying it to one person out here, I'm saying to everyone out there, man. Like, and we're all fucked up in our own little way. We always got to try work on our own selves, piece by piece.
I don't think that ever ends. Constantly.
Never ends.
I would say too that as you begin working on yourself, you realize that you're a little bit fucked up, and then it allows you to have compassion for your partner as well. Because you're so focused, like, I'm so perfect and you're all wrong. But when you start to realize, oh yeah, okay, I have my faults as well, and I have work to do on myself. And I'm always really big on having compassion with yourself too. Like, be gentle with yourself through this work, because it's not easy. But also then you learn to have compassion for your partner. And as Mike was saying, like all the intergenerational stuff, like when you start to see why someone drinks the way they do or why they act the way they do, you begin to have compassion, because you're like, okay, this is a hurt that you're carrying, and this isn't all you. And if I actually, everything is energy, right? If I actually came at you with love instead of hate, or like the opposite of love, right? Just like a very angry energy, I will actually help you heal that faster, and we'll heal together faster if we can have compassion. If I can have compassion for you, because I can't make him have compassion for me, but I can begin to have compassion for him. And I honestly think that comes from doing this work that you're talking about on yourself and taking that personal responsibility, because you understand that we're all fucked up.
Yeah, we're all fucked up. We all just got to show a little more love to each other.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's basically it. And ourselves. Yeah.
It's what it is.
Share love to yourself and share love to others. And you got to check your ego. And no matter what situation, and you're going to catch yourself in a lot of situations where you're like, fuck, I fucked up again. But hey, you're always working on yourself no matter what. Right?
Well, the thing is you caught yourself, whereas before you would just go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of
100%.
us do. We catch ourselves and then we beat ourselves up because, I should have done better, or I should be better at this point. But no, the betterness of it is that you just caught yourself and now you get to change.
So there you go. If you're catching yourself, that's good. Because exactly what you said, that means at least you're recognizing what fucking shitty thing whatever you're doing, you're catching it now. You're like, oh fuck, right?
Yeah, you're self-aware enough at least. Yeah, absolutely.
Self-awareness. Yes.
And then the next step is recognizing when you're like triggered or when you're about to do the thing that you're gonna regret. And then in that moment, you choose a new thought. And that's kind of how it's a progression, right? Like you don't just change overnight. You don't just take a magic pill and wake up and be like, oh, I love myself and my relationship is good. Like it is definitely a process. And it all depends on how much trauma we're dealing with and, you know, what we're holding on to. So there's really no end game or end like a finish line. It's a continuous cycle for the rest of your life. I should hope that we're always growing and evolving until the day we die. Because if we're not growing, we're dying.
There you go.
No, that's so fucking true, man. Like if you're not exactly, I'm not even. It's just if you're not growing, you're dying. It's so true. No, it's so true because you know that means you're just stagnant and you're just like this, and then the next thing is death, right? It's like you already know what's happening, right?
Yeah, so, exactly.
Man, I could keep. I never knew like I could talk about relationships here forever, man. Like even though I'm not in one, but it's like you know, it's.
It's an interesting deal.
You said something closer to the beginning of this about how you don't really have much to share in relationships because you've been through a lot of failed relationships. Well, I mean, you do have a lot.
You got the most of it.
You know a lot, and you know a lot of what not to do, right?
Well,
so
yeah,
you do have a lot of value.
Yeah,
you have a lot of value for sure.
Well, no, I do bring value, I guess, but it's like. Yeah, the do's and don'ts, like a lot of the shit. Like I said before, you know, I was, I don't even know if I was passed around with the other women or whatever, man. But it's like, you know, I did my thing and then I cheated. I was a cheater. Shit, I can admit that, man. Like I was a cheater, and but a lot of trauma and all that shit. You know, you have to work on stuff that goes back to the trauma, and then you check in your ego. Yeah. I do got a lot of shit. We all have a lot of stuff, no matter who you are. I'm gonna switch it here because
it's getting stuffy in here and dust,
it's hot in here. Yeah, but yeah, it's like we all have something to share, no matter what. Like I didn't even realize I brought value, because of my past relationships and how some of them are good, but like obviously. It didn't end as how it should have, but we all have value to bring, but we have a lot to learn from ourselves. If you're single like me, you can learn from your past of literally why shit's not working. Is it you? And more likely, a lot of the time you got to check yourself, right? That ego thing. I'm gonna keep saying ego. Check your trauma. What's going on with that, and just try to build yourself. See where that repetitiveness is in your life is, and where you got to work on. Which where Laura comes in.
Yeah. And I was just sharing, we talked about this on a podcast we did the other day, so that'll be coming out in a few weeks, but it was like, so just think of yourself as a frequency because you are your energy. So your frequency, and the more trauma you're dealing with, the more pain, just like toxins, heavy lifestyle, all that stuff, your energy is like, dense, right? And it's probably dark. And so you're putting out that frequency, and that's who you're attracting in your life. That's, opportunities you're attracting, money, relationships, all of that stuff. But as you start working through that trauma and the pain and detoxing and letting go, that frequency gets lighter and brighter. And it's like literally changing the radio station dial, where you just have to spin it and now you're on a whole new frequency. And now you look out and you see brand new people that you're like, wow, where was he before? And you notice, like, you can probably attest to this as you're starting to work on yourself, your eyes are open differently and you're literally running on a whole new frequency, and the world looks different to you. The people, the opportunities, the abundance, like everything is different. So as you just continue doing this work, you get lighter. You keep turning that dial and you just attract that partner or opportunities, careers, jobs.
You're putting yourself in a different room too, right? Like you're starting to get into different rooms where you're going to be the dumbest guy in the room, which is where you want to be. You just keep moving up, right? You're just going to keep up leveling off of that 100%. And people are going to want to be around you. You're going to be the biggest attractor, right? And that's where we talk about finding your partner is going to come to you. You're going to attract someone that's on your same wavelength. Because you're going to be honest, if you're vibing that high, you're going to scare away most scabs anyway, right? Like most people won't try to mess with you, and you're just going to keep attracting that more, that higher level partner that you can have a real relationship with mutual respect and helping each other grow and hopefully starting a family or doing whatever that looks like and starting that next generation of even a starting that next generation where that kid's going to be a light worker because they don't have to deal with all the sludge that we've worked with or we've had to deal with, right? They're just going to be on that same level and moving up higher than you are, right? Which is great. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better thing to see than the kids doing that. So I'm big on that just because of Lennox. Like he's almost 4 now, so you can see that, and he's his own little guy now, and they got his personality and just what he's becoming and the things he says. And he swears like a sailor, but he'll tell you he loves you all the time too. So it's just like, fuck, I'm creating the perfect weapon here. It's amazing. Love it.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. 100%, man.
Yeah, nailed 100%. That.
Got another one here from Michelle. I think we'll get close to ending it. We're getting close to midnight over here. I don't know what time.
Oh yeah,
is it over there?
9:40.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are still. Oh yeah, BC time. But here she goes.
Yeah, so that's where you're gonna be killing me with this morning show all the time.
What would you think if a person cheats because they got cheated on? I guess that goes back to the trauma based, right?
A lot of ego on that one too, because you're like,
an ego.
You hit me, I'm gonna hit you harder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, I think. I mean, if I was on a call with Michelle and I could talk to her, I would have so many questions.
Shit. We should have had a call in. That's what I wanted to do tonight. No, I wanted to do a call in tonight.
You got the roadcaster. Come on, buddy. You can
do it. I'm going to put my number up.
Sorry. Another time.
She just gave the signal we can. It's too late.
We'll do it another time. But
okay.
What would you think if a person cheats because they got cheated on? Yeah, again, same thing. There's trauma. You go deep into that. There's always an underlying issue.
100. That's where my head fucking almost still go there. But like, you hurt me, I want to hurt you, right? 100%. That's
or again, the trauma.
It is, and that's not the right thing to do, but that's 100% it would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, that sounds good, Nathan. But yeah, I mean, getting tired out there. So
wait, you know what? I'm going to tell right now. I don't want to ask you guys. Can we do another show, but we'll do a call in and we'll just take questions? You guys cool with that?
That'd be fun, man. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to need Laura because we're going to probably get a lot of women calling in.
No, I know. And like I say, she's the brains behind the outfit. So yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah, we've never done anything like that. I mean, definitely keep in mind we are not psychologists, like trained therapists. We are real people who have lived it.
We just had a lot of experience on what not to do.
If there's anything we don't know, we'll just Google while we're
Wikipedia said it's fine.
Hold on. We're gonna answer this question. We're gonna see what Google says.
That's awesome.
No, but I feel like that's the disclaimer for everything in the coaching industry, right? Like, I am not a professional therapist. But on that note, I have to finish with telling you this, that a good chunk of my clients have come to me after going through therapy and have said that what we've done together actually gave them more than therapy. And I'm not saying this to say that I'm better than therapy. It's just that we're different. We do things differently. And so I think that we work really well together differently. But what's the word? See, it's getting away in my brain. Complement. Complement. Yeah,
they do complement each other perfectly. I think.
Exactly.
Just going awesome. Here, Raymond. Thank you guys for the episode.
Thanks for listening.
Jesse from Calgary. She says, "Thank you for sharing. So much for sharing." Yeah, and Michelle, thank you for the questions.
100%. That's awesome. Those are. I hope she's doing okay. But yeah, there's a lot there too.
Matt, and these are so needed, especially in the Indian world, man. Like, you know, a lot of unhealthy relationships. That goes back to the trauma, the intergenerational trauma as well. And no one knows how to work with it. And then you get all those comments under one, you know, like a status of blah blah blah. But I think that's something we could work on with these shows, with these call-ins. Is like, I'm just my mind's turning now, man. It's just flying now. I'm like, man, we can do this. We can do this. That's a social worker coming out in me, and I'm just getting all excited here. But I think. Go ahead.
No, I just said that sounds great.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think we should do one whole show where it's just calling, and then we, you know, you guys, you're an awesome couple. You obviously been through a lot of shit, but you want to share it, and you know, you guys can answer a lot of questions. And like I said, like you guys said, you're not pros, you're not registered this and that. You guys you have life experiences, and I think life experiences are better than what school can teach you, because school teaches you the book shit. Life teaches you what is needed, right? You know what I mean? You know, there's a lot of stuff in university you don't even need to go to university for. You know, life just teaches you what needs to be done, right? And all the life lessons. And I think that's what you guys are doing. And I think I'm going to show your website here real quick. And your podcast, which is on right now.
Yep,
Yeah, just today. Yeah, season or episode 26.
Yeah,
the first
so
season of
that's on
first episode of
iTunes.
season 2.
Yeah, iTunes, Stitcher, all that fun stuff. Facebook for some reason doesn't love me anymore, so they don't get a lot of love on them videos. But it's on YouTube.
Oh,
and
you guys know what the videos are? I just read the algorithm is the more people. It is so stupid. I don't know how the algorithm does it, but the more engagement you have in the comments,
Mhm.
the more caring engagement. It said something stupid like that. Now your video gets shared more. It's so
Oh, okay.
dumb.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Right?
it does make sense. But yeah, like I say, it's all over iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify, all that kind of stuff. And that's where I'm starting to see. I used to bum me out a little bit, some of the numbers. I think we talked about that, right? But now starting to see the Spotify and the iTunes, that stuff's really picking up, and that's where I want to be. Like that's where you want to hit the people with podcasting, right? So
I should put my stuff on
awesome.
there.
100% easily. You could do it easy off of lives because you just drag the audio off of that. But there's a Tech Tuesday topic that we can talk about.
Yeah, Tech Tuesday. Hey, I needed someone this morning, so I had to cancel my show. I should have called you, but anyway, Jesse Foster, real and authentic. Yeah, this was a good one. This was a good one, and Raymond. Yeah, we all need he's talking about getting online. Yeah, it's definitely, especially Raymond's show. It's a good one.
Because even just the amount of people that he touches because of those the guests he has are quite higher profile. So yeah, he can reach out a lot of people fast.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got to do this again, and we'll do a call-in. I saw the next show. We'll call it right now. We'll do a call-in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but I think it would just be awesome. I think it would be pure awesome because I got my background, and then I could say a few things, and you guys got your life experiences and stuff, and I think it'd be fun.
No, I love it, and we talk about it all the time. Like that's the best thing. Best thing about all this stuff is just helping people, and we say it all the time. Like everyone wants to help people, but you just don't know how, right? And if sharing your story even is enough to help, then man, it's huge. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much healing, and just being able to share, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I'm really big on energy, and everything's energy, and I think the world is shifting. Like those letters behind your name are great, but at the same time, the way people want to relate to you and the energy they feel, that and energy work, right? Like I know you had a girl on here a few weeks ago. Mike was listening to it. She was talking about tapping, I think, was it?
Oh, Rachel. Yes, Rachel. She
like
the tapping stuff and energy. And
so there's just so much that I think we're never divided, right? It's just like all of these tools filling up our toolboxes. And then the more awareness we have and the more tools we have, the better off we all are as a society, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm really big on energy, but I think for sure having a call-in would be fun, and it would create a really safe space.
100% safe space, and it'd be some fun. I'm really excited now. I'm gonna be jacked of what comes out of that.
And if we do feel underqualified to say something.
No, but you know what? This goes back to if people are gonna put their relationship statuses and whatever they're going through on freaking Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. This is better because then you're getting real advice instead of girlfriend going and giving you like the shit you want to hear. We're going to tell you exactly what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, you definitely want to get a back rub. There's your put that as your banner for it, buddy, right there.
What's that? Shit you.
We're going to tell you.
Yeah, there you go. I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's actually a good one. But you guys, my daughter, they're bugging me to get in here. So thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed this. Went long. I usually only go for an hour, but hey, man, we just kept going. Right here, Michelle. This is better than therapy, I'd say. Yes.
Oh,
there you go. That's actually
definitely. We're gonna have to talk to her. Yeah. Make sure you tune in and call.
Michelle will have to come on there. Yeah. But I want to thank you guys for joining my show. IOPPS Goes Live. You guys tune into theirs on their website. I'm gonna bring it up here real quick at larocklife.com. Did I spell it right? LAROCQUE life.com.
Nailed her. Yep.
Check them out, you guys. You can check their episodes out on their podcast, season 1 and 2. I've actually listened to 2 on season 1, and they're pretty good. Yeah, these guys know what they're the real deal. They know what they're talking about, and yeah,
Hey, we're
totally
actually
looking
doing-
forward to this. Huh?
We're actually doing a giveaway as well for our podcast. So if you go leave us a review and subscribe and rate, review, and subscribe, you'll get entered for a $25 cash and one of these love mugs.
Mhm.
So go to our Facebook. You'll see the post there tomorrow. Not today. You'll see it tomorrow, and you can win
Awesome.
something.
Awesome. I'm gonna give you guys the floor real quick, and then we're gonna end it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna say goodbye. You guys say a few words, and then we'll see
No,
you
that's
next
deadly. I like it.
Thank you.
Like I say, we're excited to be on that call-in show. I like that. Maybe we'll just play our outro and we can ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in. If you do have any questions or comments, leave them below. Or if you have a question that's more personal that you want to send a message, just by all means go to our website, and then you can find our emails, or you can go to our social medias and you can DM us. You can slide
You'll
to
find
our
us.
DMs.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you guys. We say love a lot, so we do love you and appreciate everybody out there. And you can listen to our outro.
Yeah, and
For-
thank you, Nathan, for having us.
Massively. Thank you lots, brother. And yeah, only looking forward to more moving up and onwards, and it's gonna be exciting, buddy. Okay. Thank you guys. See you later.